Hello everyone and welcome to the third round back nine action of the 2019 Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. Tim Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Kevin Jones, who's coming in remotely to give us some more play calling as we're out here at Vista del Camino. Again, third round out of four. Let's get to the action. We're here with Devan Owens on hole number 10. And Devan's 5 under through the front nine, off to a pretty solid start. And Kevin, 651 feet, a par 4. What's the play here?
This hole's really fun. The play this year, I believe, okay, so that is in trouble because it's fading out far to the left. There's OB all along the left side. He knows it. That probably even found the water. But the play is to play something really far to the right. Those rocks up there that we see on my right are actually safe. And so if you go way out there, there's nothing wrong with that. Whoa, that looks really good. I'm actually surprised about that. Oh, I must have caught something.
Yeah, it was really tough for me to follow it, but it did keep going. And we know in how you're referencing this, there's a little different look in 2020. And with this being from 2019, your game plan was definitely different. And here's a roller by Seppo.
Yeah, they made those rocks on the right side out of bounds in 2020, which makes the hole way harder. It was almost like a little cheat to go up to the right.
I get 30 feet extra distance with the whale sack, and I'm not even choking. Kevin says I'm choking, but I'm serious. I just get such a good grip, I feel like I can rip it.
Maybe I need to be more open-minded.
Yeah, it does.
You're welcome, Tina. All right, so not an official paid ad there by Whale Sacks, but he was definitely pushing, saying he gets an extra 30 feet at least when he uses his whale sack. So you said you're going to have to be more open-minded to that idea. We saw Ben with a little bit of trouble. He's kind of struggling here after going OB and then hitting in a tree on his approach. And Devan setting up well for this lefty shot.
Oh, this is Seppo's PA1 right here. He's usually deadly with this thing.
That is a great look. It had me a little nervous for a moment, but he stayed pretty clean. And how do you feel about this forehand?
Awesome. That looked like I was in actually really good attacking position, and I executed the forehand. I should be tapping in.
Ben with a little too much muscle. He's asking for it to settle down. This is Devan for his birdie.
Man, Devan's putt is looking so good this round.
And this is actually coming in as the third easiest hole on the course, averaging 3.72. Unfortunately, Ben here not helping the under par scores. One eagle in round number 3, and it was by the local boy, Anthony Barella.
Wow, he probably threw such a long roller.
Yeah, he had a 60-foot throw in. Now we go on the reverse side, hole 11, kind of parallels the previous hole, just on the other side of the water.
Yeah, so this hole and the last hole in 2020 had new Mandos on it that made them way more difficult and technical. This year, you're able to throw a hyzer and end way left on the fairway and be in the perfect spot in 2019. In 2020, if you're in the left side of the fairway, you're actually in a really trouble spot and you're probably not going to be able to get up and down, at least easily. So the change made it much more technical. This year, it's playing a lot easier, but still is a really tough hole.
And although the tee shot may not be ideal for Devan, I feel like the second shot is what really sets up well for him with the slope of the green. Is that a fair assessment?
Exactly. He's going to have a sweeping hyzer around all of those trees and with a lot of thin grass to mess with. That's a really good shot in 2019 for myself.
More product placement there for the whale sack. Seppo still making sure his hands dried off. And he hangs it a lot higher and wider than you. Do you guys talk about your game plan here?
I don't remember talking about it with him that much, but I think we're both really we're just really trying to get inbounds, and that's like our number one goal. If he plays it much lower, theoretically he could flip it up too much and be over those rocks, which is a nightmare.
And we see Devan right at the 400-foot marker. He says, "Oh no," out of his hand. And
oh no, yeah, just way too flat.
That is going to be out of bounds for Devan.
This is a really technical shot from Ben right here. It has to be played really well in order to not flare really far to the left.
Yeah, the closer you guys get to the pin, the smaller the inbounds area really is. And Seppo says, "I'll just stick the landing, no problem there."
Yeah, I miss being able to do this, that's for sure. It made this hole a lot easier. Sidearm is a nice shot, and it plays really well into that green.
So after Devan went out of bounds, he brings it in 1 meter. And he's still got a little work to do. That's in his range.
Thank you.
Something to take note of, as we're watching Ben line up his putt there a moment ago, how part of his routine is holding on to another disc. And you see how that is different from some other players who just simply don't. I guess I'd be curious to know, one, in the comments, what people think about that. And two, how did you develop your routine, which is pretty unique?
Well, my putting kind of came from a mix of Nico LaCastro, Nate Sexton, and a little bit of Ricky in there as well. I don't hold a putter in my hand as I'm putting just because it feels like something else to think about. But people like Ricky explain it as in they're practicing like that all day, every day. So why not do it in the round?
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. I see Devan does it as well. And back when I used to play disc golf, believe it or not, that was always something. I always had another putter in my hand because I kind of felt like the same way. That's how I practiced, so it just felt natural to hold another one. So I see it both ways. This is a daunting one, though, for hole 12 to get up and over this gunite and the water's edge here.
Yes, it is. Hole 12 plays really difficult, and the main objective is to be safe. Because if you're not safe, you have to go to the drop zone, which, oh, yeah, I'm headed straight there.
Maybe. No.
Oh. It looked good for a second. I thought it snuck over it, but big mistake by myself there. I'm 2 under at this point, and that's just not what you want to do.
No, and with you not crossing any area up there, you're going right to the drop zone. So you still have to clear the water and to find, something in bounds, which doesn't take any of the pressure off whatsoever. You got work to do. What a beautiful turnover there.
Thank you.
To be fair, folks, not many people are blessed with the capabilities to be able to throw a turnover, maybe even a mid-range, up onto this green. That's a pretty incredible throw.
Yeah, I agree, man. Both Seppo's shot and Ben's were so technical and difficult.
So now with the water being lower than ever, this is the lowest I've seen it in almost 20 years, he's actually moved down to the water's edge to throw from down in that gravel area. And any other year you see footage, you'd never see that as an option, just because there'd be water there. That's right. As well.
You'd think if I had 2 chances, I'd figure it out.
You're giving yourself a hard time there, saying you should have figured it out after 2 chances.
This is your provisional? Yep. All right.
So there was a conversation about provisionals, and a lot of that was really, well, say, confusing to the viewers, so they don't see it all. But Here's Devan. Here's Ben for birdie. And Kevin, you've got almost the exact same putt we just saw from Ben. So anytime you're, playing this hole, and you go B, the best you're going to do is walk away with a bogey. So you can't be too mad about that.
Right.
Yeah,
But
I'm
it's
just
still,
making
it's
sure
a
there's
really stressful bogey, to say the least. You have to go through a lot of mental stress in order to pull that off, and that's mental stress that you definitely like to save for different parts of the course, but you got to do what you got to do.
So you have a very long walk, and then you come over to a hole that's got plenty of OB on it, don't you?
Oh yeah, this hole is super tricky. There is only really 2 viable lines, one of them being up the gut.
What happened, Devin?
Anger problems. There was a fly on my bag and I decided to kick it.
yeah.
And my milkshake blew
It
up
busted open.
all over me.
Is it on your bag?
It went everywhere.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
Okay, I remember that.
it happens.
Yeah. All right, Devin explaining some of his challenges there. Hole 13, like you just said, so difficult, I think, to attack, and there's so much danger.
Yeah, so the spike hyzer that we're seeing, you can't. That's really well played from Ben. You can't really play it to the pin. You're not gonna be able to just absolutely park this hole on a spike hyzer because of how the trees are shaping. Seppo going up the middle, you have to be safe.
Wow. Stays inbounds. Great shot by Seppo.
That looks pretty good.
Fighting past all the trees, and you land in bounds. I feel like that's, the number one objective on this tee shot.
Yeah, it's really important to be in bounds, but I mean, obviously at this point, I'm really wanting to get a birdie, so I can imagine that I was pretty frustrated at that.
Up here in this area.
And we actually
Oh, yeah, there. There it is.
find the disc up in the tree. And
You know if 2 meter was in effect?
I believe that it was.
Yeah, I imagine so as well, which is that's awesome.
You're fully disgusted, and understandable. Things aren't going your way, and then you put a disc up in the tree 2 meters, and I can understand being really frustrated with that.
That's what you get when you throw a really high shot, and I didn't throw it high enough to get over the trees. Well done from Seppo. This is an extra birdie for sure.
Yeah, this came in as the second most difficult hole on the entire course. So it averaged 3.4, and there were very few birdies on it. 41 birdies on hole 13, and Devin's kind of even bewildered about your disc as well. How mad are you?
Super. I'm extremely mad. This course has always gotten the best of me, man, and it just seems to always do that. I get a bunch of birdies. I have a really decent birdie percentage, but doing stuff like that just kills it.
We move over to another par 4, 655 feet. There's a Mando you have to stay inside of, but then the approach, a pretty fair green, I would say, but that OB does loom.
Yeah, I mean, nothing too special on this hole. You're throwing a pretty basic hyzer out to the right. You have there's no wall this year, so I guess sawing it off would be your worst mistake. Seppo just showed us pretty much exactly what you want to do, and then he's going to have a putter most likely to the pin.
And there's the Mando tree that I was just mentioning that you just have to be to the left of. And Devan just so good at controlling the angle so that when that does finish, he doesn't get a huge flare or skip off to the right.
Good shot, Kev.
And that's a pretty solid shot. Puts you out in the middle of the fairway as we're seeing I think this was the beginning of the Scoot gang. As Paige and Erica were out running around getting their own media. Here you are on the approach. Is that a putter?
That is that PA2 that I've been throwing this round, and pretty solid shot. Should be 20, 25 feet. I love being able to throw putter on this next shot. Wow. That was the same disc it looked like that he threw on the island hole in the front nine just so perfectly. He seems pretty dialed with that disc.
See if that's got just the right amount of speed. Looks like it does. Great approach. Maybe a little frustration. Seppo not quite turning that over.
Yeah, not quite. I was further than I thought for sure.
I mean, we can blame the ground if you want.
Happily, Terry. Anything. Anything but me.
Yeah, you're a little on tilt is how it feels.
What? Oh, talk about tilt. That never happens on those baskets.
Oh my goodness. And Devan a little longer than I think we assumed as well.
Yep. Nice.
Settle in there. And as you guys continue to clean out, again, this is all 2019 Memorial footage. The event, of course, presented by Discraft. I want to thank the Pro Tour. I want to thank Parsave for the drone previews. I want to thank you, Kevin, for co-commentating all of the rounds thus far, and all the Patreon subscribers that hopefully enjoy a little bonus footage that otherwise wasn't contracted or necessarily meant to be put out. So glad we could get it. Not often do I rush out to the fifth card to get the coverage, but I thought this was such a good group to follow, and we're seeing some pretty good shots here.
Yeah, I'm always glad when I see you out there, especially when you come to my card. It's always an extra little motivation.
Here's another par 4, 741 feet, danger on the left and the right. Are you trying to really bite off as much as you can here, or are you just more concerned about finding the fairway?
This is actually a hole where I think it's pretty important to bite off quite as much as possible. The further that you go, the easier the shot becomes. This is a hole where not hardly anybody can really throw a sidearm and get in like a great position to attack the hole. So it's really important to throw a really great flex shot or a roller or something that gets a bunch of distance on the tee.
And Ben's going with a huge turnover. We'll see if that holds the line long enough.
That's a little early. Oh my goodness.
Crap, dude.
Wow.
You couldn't do that again in 1,000 more tries.
No way. That's like an ace.
And that's really actually good position for Devan, being left-handed. He will have an option of going with a forehand or a backhand on his approach, but he's in really good position. And Seppo with a nice turnover roller.
Oh, that's ideal. It looks really good right now.
You're good. Hey, Ben. You're
Yep,
good.
that's what you want. That's right where you want the roller to be.
Looks like you're making an adjustment. Make sure your footing is good on that tee, and you look like you're lining up for a big pull.
Oh, there's going to be some anger in this one, I guarantee. Get right. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
That is mashed. Wow.
Nice.
All the way past that Mando tree. Very impressive. And here's Devan. He's got to be concerned about his footing a little bit. That's kind of awkward running downhill while throwing a forehand.
Yeah, if his shoes are not super grippy, it could get slick. And unfortunately, that flared out a little early. Actually, quite a bit early, and it's going to be punished for that.
Big action. Oh,
Asking for the big action.
Wow, that was
getting it. Yeah, everybody should just kind of file that one. If you're ever in that position, you're playing that low skip shot to the pin, come up short and let it skip there. I think that's such a textbook play.
Yeah, I agree. It takes the fat part of the trees out of play, so that it's just less likely to hit a tree. Because there are 2 trees right in the way of that hyzer.
And you kind of play that kind of anti-skip flare trickery. I like it.
Yeah, that was a PA2 again, really low to the ground, playing a lot of ground play. It worked out well.
Again, reminding everyone they started at 17 under par, which means Devan is at 4 for the round. You're at even. Ben is at 6, and Seppo currently at 5. And unfortunately for him, he's going to stay at 5 under for the round. It's a Saturday evening, probably around maybe 5:30 or so. It's a beautiful day out in Vista del Camino.
Yeah, it's almost always like perfect shorts and t-shirt weather this time of year here.
Great kickoff to the Disc Golf Pro Tour season. And yeah, textbook birdie for you to push you to 18 under overall, which is just 1 down for the round. We'll see if you can have a strong finish here to close things out. I'm going to move over here to hole number 16. This is a tough one.
Yeah, this is a power sidearm hole, whether you like it or not. That's the play here. If you're going to throw a backhand on this hole, you are awesome because it is so hard.
All right, I guess I know what your weapon of choice might be then. If you're talking, you think sidearm's the way to go.
It just has to be a sidearm with the slope of the ground. The second that your backhand starts to hyzer out, it just becomes so much trouble. Let's see what happens to Ben here.
A little too skinny. No, she gone.
Yeah, he knew it, just like you called. Once that hyzer's out, it's a fast green, and you're gonna find that OB sidewalk almost all the time.
Ah! Short. Get up there.
And then you just pray that it doesn't roll.
You kind of belt it out. Short, get up there. Puts you in range.
Yeah, a really solid shot. This is right on the edge of Seppo's sidearm distance right here. Wow, he smashed it really good. Just sit. Wow, that was really good, Seppo.
Worked out well, and this hole kind of sets up well then, as you were saying, for the lefty spin, so to speak.
Yeah, this is like a bread and butter shot for Dev.
Maybe a little tentative. Definition of a death putt right here on 16.
Yeah, this is scary. Wow, he's put it so good this round. I said it before, I'll say it again. It's awesome to see.
Solid, and what a great way to follow up the previous hole where he clearly had a struggle. And he's having a pretty good round going. So that was a great comeback after hole 15. And Ben's not able to save his par. Does that feel as good even after seeing Devan's from twice the distance?
It feels almost better because I didn't get big putted, thankfully. Yeah, it feels really good. I mean, anytime I make those 25-footers is just satisfying.
And that putt is really all or nothing. Like, there's so much that could go wrong if you miss that putt anywhere. So, you know, that's kind of the additional relief to it. I mean, it's the all too obvious birdie, but also you stayed away from any other danger.
Yeah, you really try not to think about it, but that's immediately once your disc doesn't go in the bottom of the basket, you're praying, please sit, please sit.
Little ace run on hole 17, possibly to finish it out. How much do the OB just past the basket, how much does that come into play for you? Are you thinking about it?
No, not really, because the sidearm shouldn't really ever get close to that. At this point, I'm definitely thinking ace.
You were calling for it.
Thank you.
Looks like an easy tap in from there. Seppo run with the backhand.
This is his PA1. I haven't seen that in 2020 yet, which is unfortunate because he threw that so much last year.
If we were to give you 10 forehand shots at this basket, how far out would be your worst shot?
Probably like 35 feet.
Okay. So you're not quite 100% dialed in on those yet. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I only say that because it seems like every year that I play this, I find myself at 35 feet on the high side, putting down to death, so I have to say that. But really, it should be automatic. This is crazy how good he's putting.
Another birdie there for Devan. Going to push him back to 5 under on the round. You got to be fully committed here if you're going for this, don't you?
Yeah, entirely.
And he rolls to a full 25, 26 feet. And I think just out of speed of play, we're going to see Seppo go first. So that's what I'd like for everyone to answer. Would you go backhand or forehand here on hole 17? That's what I want to know. A great comeback for Ben.
Yeah, I had a good feeling about that one. He's really calm and collected as well, so he doesn't get phased quite that often.
What? Upside down? Look at you. I didn't even notice that until now.
Tricky, but when I do it, it should be 100%.
Hole 18 is so tough here in 2019. I know they switched it up for 2020, but describe this shot here in 2019.
Well, I believe I'm just throwing like a pretty hard hyzer as obviously I'm just trying to aim at the basket, but the worst thing that you could do is grip lock it and never cross inbounds and pretty much have to re-tee. So you'll see a lot of people almost like ace run the hole just so that if they go OB left, it's no huge deal. It's either a 3 or a 4. And see, that was really aggressive. Wow, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you.
Cool to see that. But that's the thing, though. You have to play it so far out to the right if you want to park the hole. And Devan showing us the reverse spike hyzer.
Wow.
That might have been a mid-range, too. That was awesome.
I believe it was. And what a shot by the lefty.
X1 from Seppo.
Yeah, boy.
That looks really good.
Everybody asking for it to blow up, and it stays in bounds. Oh, and a little kiss off the wall keeps it in bounds. So, spoiler alert, this is the 3rd most difficult hole on the course. We see 4 guys in bounds.
Wow, it's definitely playing like that because a lot of people might find themselves going once or twice OB right and just having to rethrow, and that just adds up your score real quick.
Solid. I'm not about to pick on Big Germ for taking a 7 and the worst score during this round. I don't want to pick on him for that, but
No.
he might have been the guy that took the worst score. I mean, I just read off of UDisc, man. That's all I'm here for. I'm just reading UDisc.
It's always germ, it seems like.
Yes, 3 for 3.
Wow.
And look at this. So the third most difficult hole on the course, and you guys take a star frame.
Wow, what a finish for all of us.
Absolutely. Speaking of finishes, thank you, Kevin. Thank you again to Discraft. Thank you to the Pro Tour, and thank you to all the supporters and sponsors you've seen throughout. We're through 3 rounds, 54 of the holes, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys for round 4 at Vista del Camino. Here's your leaderboard.